A-2013, adopting the final budget for the year 2013, and setting forth the estimated revenues and appropriations, continued from the November 26, 2012 meeting. Is the Finance Director?
The Mayor was presented with proposed preliminary budget on October 1st, 2012. He provided Council with full copies, including requests from the departments. On November 2nd, the Mayor provided Council with his preliminary budget and the budget message. The public hearing was held on November 13th to provide the opportunity for testimony from the citizens on the revenue sources, including the proposed tax levy increase and preliminary budget. On November 19th, the preliminary budget was revised, was available to the public, and Council had held a workshop providing the opportunity for staff to present requests for changes in allocations for their departments, and Council the opportunity to ask staff questions and provide direction to staff. Public hearing was held on November 26th during the regular council meeting, providing the opportunity for further discussion from the public on the 2013 budget. That public hearing was continued to tonight. The Finance Committee met and discussed the 2013 budget on November 27th. They proposed 3 different staffing options for the police department for council discussion and consideration on December 3rd at the workshop. The Finance Committee met again on December 4th, and this is the final budget proposal as a result of all previous discussions. This incorporates the staffing level proposed in option number 2. This provides the police department staffing consisting of 1 public safety director, 1 lieutenant, 1 sergeant, 1 detective, 6 officers, 1 evidence technician, 1 police office specialist, 1 part-time corrections sergeant, and a .8 full-time equivalent part-time corrections officers. This does not provide for the following requests that were requested by the Mayor, and that's an assistant for the Mayor, assistant for the City Clerk, or the driver for the Senior Center. And this budget document was provided to you in hard copy and sent out electronically. We have a few copies available. If anybody else is interested, I have a few here, and I think that Patty put some on the back table.
So I'm looking at the resolution in our packet. I'm looking at the resolution that's in our packet, and I see that it's clear that we're adopting the budget at the fund level. It references an attachment A that has the salary schedule and FTE schedule, and I don't see that on there.
It should be the 3rd page.
Yeah, the next page says it's intentionally left blank. So is it the same one that we have in this?
It's the same one that's in what you have right there in your hand.
Okay. And Ken, is that appropriate to just to substitute that in?
Yes.
I don't want to have problems with it.
No, if you substitute it in, make it part of it.
Just the scrivener's there.
Any other comments or questions from the council? Councilmember Halsey.
Yeah, I noticed that on the income, I don't see the waste management franchise fee.
Use the microphone, please. Sorry.
When I look at the income, I don't see the waste management franchise fee. And as I recall, that was around $130,000.
It should be in there. Oh. That was that $92,000 under franchise fees that we dropped down to. 62. That was another 32, and it adds to the 56 that's up above.
Where at?
On page 1 of the general fund, under B&O garbage, and then under taxes, and then under licenses and permits were the franchise fees. We just took that out at the finance committee meeting, sorry.
That's the 56 that's shown here?
56, and there was another 30 under the other franchise fees. That's actually only 86 though, not 120. And it is under the general fund, not under the garbage.
I'm not seeing the other franchise fees that you talked about. Cable franchise fees?
Yes. I have it. This was 2,000, and we got on the ground. That
Any other questions, Council? And then
I think this is just another, this is just the public hearing portion,
Yes.
correct?
so this time I'm going to open up to the public for questions concerning the 2013 budget. Does any citizen have a question on the 2013 budget? Would you please identify yourselves?
Bernadine Harrison. I'd like to know when the council is going to consider removing the public safety director position and lower it to a police chief who can handle public safety. They have in the past. That's always been part of their position. And I think the money that's going out for this public safety director is extraordinarily high, and I think it's unnecessary. Should have been done a long time ago when we went to Valley Regional for the fire department. So that's been how long? A couple of years now? And we've been paying a wage for a public safety director that's been unnecessary.
Any other citizens have a comment or question concerning the 2013 budget?
Joanne Wilson, 421 Wayne Avenue, Southeast. I'm just curious what the garbage charge is for, since we no longer are doing waste management through you. What is garbage?
Finance director available?
I don't know.
Even though we turned the garbage collection and everything back over to LeMay, we do still have funding available in that fund, and we take care of some recycle events, and we have a grant that's done every year with some recycle. And that's all in that fund. And then there's, I think, $200,000 or better still in that fund that the city's going to have to decide what to do with that.
Could you identify where those funds come from? I mean, because I think that's one of the questions, whether it's coming from the citizens being charged.
It's not, there's no actual activity in that fund other than the grant. The activity that's listed for garbage in 2013 is $5,000 Department of Ecology Waste Prevention Grant and the professional services to do that.
So I'm seeing her shake her head, so is there some something specific that you're,
Well, I just don't know why it'd be in our budget for 2013.
Because there's money in the bank and we can't just disappear with it, so we have to account for it.
Yeah, but is it accounted for under garbage still?
It's in a special fund specifically for garbage, and once a fund is set up, until that fund is dissolved by action of the council, it has to remain.
So is that gonna be worth for the 2013 budget?
It
Involved?
may very well be done. In that case, the grant that is still provided for in that fund would have to move to wherever the funding moves. But that requires council action. I can't do it.
Dwayne Gross, 122 3rd Avenue Northwest. Just a statement and then two questions. Last year in the budget, you had about $25,000 set aside for the city attorney. This year, I think we're over $150,000 due to the mayor's antics. What are you projecting for next year, assuming that we get insurance, which you must be assuming because we're doing budget talks right now? What are you projecting for next year for the city attorney? Because we're already 125 and counting, I assume, beyond the current budget.
we have an answer to that? I don't know what the plan is.
And that includes the prosecuting attorney.
What number is that? I couldn't hear you.
163,000 total, but that's not just the city attorney, that's the prosecuting attorney, and an independent attorney.
That's to date?
No, that's the projection for next year.
That's for next year, and this year we spent?
Yeah.
More than we'd like.
How much we spent on it?
I just happened to run this report. Attorney fees, and this is all attorneys, prosecuting, litigation, indigent, and labor negotiation. Year to date, and this is as of today, is $261,614.44.
So we're at 260,000, and we set aside 24,000 last year, because, and I assume that was based on that's what the normal costs are. No?
It was broken out differently last year.
Okay, I'm just talking about the city attorney. It was 23,000 last year, and so far we're at 160, you said, for the city attorney. I'm just trying to split out how much has been spent additional, not counting just attorney fees for court services for indigents and so forth. What are we spending because of the mayor's antics this year beyond what we normally would spend, and what are we setting aside to spend next year?
That's a very difficult question to answer, but the reality of it is about 80% of what I do should not be done, but it has to be done. We're looking at some very serious issues, and the problem that the council has and that I have is that we do not know where the city is going to wind up with insurance. And as such, it has disincorporation, it has annexation, it has independent interlocal agreements with the various cities to perform the services and protect the citizens, all of which would not have had to happen if we didn't face this problem. Basically, I would think, not having thought about it, probably 80% of what I've been having to do is unnecessary because I'm doing things that public works should have been doing, other employees should have been doing, and we're looking into areas of uncertainty that no one has ever looked at before in this state, including MRSC, and we're trying to protect the citizens, the council is trying to protect the city, but in doing so, we have to have all our options, all our bases covered. In answer to your question, I would think 80% of what I have done this year is unnecessary.
I appreciate you doing what you're doing, but the question still is, with all the litigation, I assume that there's 11.3 or something million dollars outstanding in claims, not actual lawsuits at this point, that the city attorney would be involved in that, even though we do, if we had, the existing insurance should be involved in that, right? But I gotta think that the city attorney has to have some involvement in that also. So ongoing, there could be huge expenses beyond what you're even setting aside right now because there's so many unknowns, correct?
Yes, sir. Any other comments or questions concerning the budget, 2013 budget?
I just have one question here. This is the budget for 2013. I want to know if you can give the citizens in Pacific a budget for 2013 if we go to Auburn, so that they can see the difference on what they're going to pay. Right now, some people think everything is going to go down, which is not going to go down at all. I think everyone needs to be aware of how much more money they're going to be shelling out, and I think everyone deserves that. The council could find out if we're going to go to Auburn. That is your job to find out, let the citizens know. We're on the brink of going to Auburn. We deserve that. I would like to know. I'm a homeowner. I pay my taxes. I want to know how much more money I'm going to be shelling out, and if it's even worth living in Pacific.
Well, we're required by state law to have a pass by the end of the year, for the upcoming year. That is what we're going through right now. That is our legal requirement. What exactly it's going to cost us if we're annexed into Auburn or any other city, or this corporation with the King County, and what our tax will be. Right now, I don't have an answer. I don't know if those questions need to be addressed. John?
I believe the finance director had some preliminary numbers on what those tax rates would be, but I don't know if she has anything pulled together to the point that she could present it tonight.
Pulling this information off of the King County website, the current tax rate for the city of Pacific is 1.61 and a few more decimals of cents per $1,000 of assessed value, and for the city of Auburn, according to the website, it's $2.07 plus a few carried out. Let's see, Auburn is 2.07527, and Pacific is at a rate of 1.61123. Now that's just tax levy for property tax. I don't have the sales tax. I didn't pull that information, or B&O or any of that.
We're going to pay more money.
So is there any other questions from any other citizen?
Henry Van Heat, 205 Hawthorne Avenue, Washington. I did hear, not officially, but the tax rate in King County is $4.35 per thousand.
How much is that?
What? In King County? What?
Tom Halstead, 537 Milwaukee Boulevard. Yes, I have not attended all these meetings. I've been to the last couple meetings, and I've heard different rhetoric going on. I know we're in a difficult situation, and resolution. I realize we don't have a mayor here.
Just related to the budget?
Oh, the budget.
Yeah. That's what we have, public hearing. I mean,
Okay.
format here.
Yeah, as of the budget, the only thing I'm concerned about is restriping Ellingson Road because I can't see the lane. So that's it.
Sorry, there'll be other time.
In between them, I'm on. What is the budget for the senior center? And I'm wondering, instead of a full-time director, if we could do a part-time director, to save money that way, being our directors usually away there part-time. And, a lot of it is delegated to the, assistant and to the volunteers. What is your comments on that? And I have no idea what our budget is. We're trying to save money, and that may be one way to do it. Thank you. I still think you're all great.
Any other questions?
Hi, Joanne Butch, 112 Wayne Avenue. My concern with the budget is what happened to the transportation job for the senior center? Anybody tell me why we don't have that in the budget this year when we've had it for many, many years?
So when it came to the budget for the youth and senior services, it was a couple months ago that we wanted to add a transportation driver, a bus driver to that. And when we sat down with the current community services director, we penciled out what it would cost for a director, for a youth, the youth at your position, basically, an assistant and a van driver, and we penciled out what those numbers would be and what it would add up to. It was feasible, but that's not what the numbers are that came back in the budget, and what's not what came back for the director's salary. We were originally not going to do a director over there, but do a manager, so it would be a lesser pay scale. But now that is filled with a director position, which is a higher pay scale. So what we had to do is eliminate the van driver and have the assistant, like it's been in the past, the assistant drive the van. It cannot be done by volunteers. That is an agreement that was made with the union, that it will not be done by volunteers. It will be a bargain position, a representative position that drives the van. So with the assistant being under the bargaining agreement, the assistant will have to drive the van, or the van won't be driven.
But like I said, that position has always been there, and it has been in the bargaining unit, and
the bus driver is a brand new position that was just agreed upon in the brand new contract with the union this year.
wasn't it bargained the same time my position was? Yes. Yes.
So the last contract that was put in, we don't have to fill it, but we put it in the contract because it's our intent to fill it, but until we can afford to, we can't.
So what happened to the manager position? Because I've expressed and I've had concerns with that myself as far as why do we need a department head instead of a manager? If we can get a manager for a cheaper, we need the position, I guess is what I'm trying to say. There's two of us.
Right, and I agree with you, and that's one of the things that we wanted to look at as a council. We filled the position as director because we wanted to make sure that we can get insurance. That was what a requirement from the insurance company was. That didn't help us, now did it? But that's what our intent was, because that is what was agreed upon. That's what the insurance company asked from us back in July. Fill these positions. These were scheduled positions that we had. They were part of our original budget. So to go back and make those changes at a time when we're trying to do everything we can to keep insurance, to get an extension, felt like it wasn't a very good time to make that change. So, doesn't mean that it can't be changed in the future. It's something that council can look at further on and do a budget amendment.
Okay.
Unfortunately, at this time, that's where we're at.
Okay, well, we really need that position.
I know we do.
Thank you.